Hey, DHG here, and I'm doing a review for 13, PlayStation 2 game that I came across when going upon PlayStation 2 shooters online. I forgot about this guy right here. His vacation didn't end very well. But I did that search and this came up. I remember seeing this at Blockbuster a long time ago, but if anyone out there remembers Blockbuster video games and movie rentals, that's old school. This game came up, and I remember seeing it there, but I've never played it. In fact, I've never even really considered it. It was just one of the many games there. I didn't have a lot of time back in that day. So I decided to give it a whirl because it was only like $7 or somewhere around there. I didn't pay much for it. And I was really surprised. This was a really good game. It doesn't rise to the level of Great Territory, which I've only given out twice, but it's pretty good. You might have a hard time playing it nowadays. I don't know what all systems it came out for. It's definitely on PlayStation 2. I think it came out for PC as well. Although games from back in that day, when was this made? 2003. Ooh. Yeah, games from that far back generally have problems working with modern day PCs. It all depends on what kind of software to use and all that kind of stuff, but now you might be able to get it on a PC. I don't know if it came out on Xbox. If it did, then you could pick it up there, since Xbox is backwards compatible. However, it might not be one of the Xbox backwards compatible games. So that's something you're going to have to look up. Graphics, first and foremost. For this good game, I would say that the graphics reasonably do its job. I mean, you can see that there's cell shading in progress here. It's got a comic book look on it, and I guess this was based off of a comic book. At least that's what I've read, because I try to learn as little as I can about these games before I jump into them. I want to keep an open mind. And I understand that this was based off of a comic book, so that would explain the cell shading. And it looks good overall. The explosions look good, cartoonish. Action's a lot of fun. I mean, it doesn't detract from the game at all. Controls. It was a PlayStation 2 shooter, and this was back before a lot of first-person shooters had standardized controls. It didn't really follow Halo's lead with the whole two-weapon loadout thing, which it was kind of good, also kind of bad for console games. But in here, they made swapping through the different items in your inventory and your weapon loadout very easy. In fact, I was surprised to see them make it so easy to go through. It wasn't like Return to Castle Wolfenstein where you had to cycle through a whole ton of guns. You might have carried, I think, 5 maximum here with like 4 gadgets. It was very easy to control. However, being that it was an old shooter, the dead zones were kind of high. The technology wasn't as great back then, but you can play the game with reasonable accuracy. The aim assist is definitely there to help, and it's not really going to get in the way of your gameplay. It was pretty solid overall. The controls were a lot better than I thought they would be. Gameplay. They switch it up a lot here. What you're seeing now and what it gets to later, the missions vary from time to time. Like some missions you'll do stealth missions. In this one, you're under siege and you have to defend the cabin with all sorts of big weapons. I'll show you that. Here you go, bust out the M60 and defend that cabin. You do that. Other missions, you do stealth gameplay, and seeing that they had stealth involved in this game, I immediately cringed, because sometimes stealth is one of those things in a game where if you pull it off, or if you're going to attempt to do it, you have to pull it off, and you have to pull it off reasonably well, just because the slightest errors in games that involve stealth can just make it or break it. In this, they kind of made the stealth comical. I'll show you a quick one here. Which one do I know has stealth? I think this one. Yeah. Let me get a little further in here. You see, because unbeknownst to many people, it's extremely stealthy to smash people over the head with chairs. Yeah, no, that's the kind of stealth I'm talking about. You can also run up behind them and choke them out and stuff like that, but it's just too much fun running around bashing everyone with chairs and brooms or whatever you can get your hands on. So the stealth sequences were actually pretty fun. They weren't too picky about it. Like, if you fired some rounds off with an unsuppressed gun, the alarms didn't go blazing everywhere. But they kept it reasonably tight, and they kept it manageable for the player, given that this is not a stealth game. They kept that in mind, and they did a good job with it. The sound. For a first-person shooter, its sounds did well. Some of the voice acting, which is not surprising for back in that day. I mean, it wasn't like, what was the guy's name? David Hayter in the Metal Gear series. They didn't have those top-name voice actors from back then in every single game. But the guy that was in this game was also in another game I reviewed, Black. He does the main character. He does a reasonably good job. The other voice actors are pretty good. Some of them are kind of cringeworthy. But overall, the sound was good. Explosions, gun sounds, they all had their own pops. It was pretty good. The music, spy music stuff, think XIII. You get a lot of that, then when the action starts up, you get the more robust music playing. It was all pretty good. Then some of the music got stuck in my head a little bit. Story. This game had a very good story. It was about, I'm not going to say any spoilers here, but it was about, I think, 20 assassins that assassinated the president with a sniper rifle, and then that guy got executed or something, and then one of the previous assassins that they thought was dead apparently comes back to life, and that's the guy you play as. And you try to track down each individual person, trying to figure out who made the call, what really happened, and you're just unraveling a mystery. It worked out pretty good. The story was very good in this game. Stability and bugs. I had some issues. I think I got stuck in objects I shouldn't have got stuck in, maybe once or twice, and had to restart a checkpoint. Some of the checkpoints can be a bit iffy, but you're never that far back. These levels aren't very long, maybe 15 minutes max. And I didn't have any crashing, so it's a stable game. And opinions. There was supposed to be a sequel. Hello, pause. There's supposed to be a sequel. I don't know what happened. I kind of wish they would have made that sequel now, because this was a really good game, and wouldn't mind seeing a second one. So that's my review of 13. Good game. I suggest you try it.